We're going to head to a quick break right now, but when we come back, we have plenty more action for you on the main stage. We've got Spacestation taking on Complexity right after the break. Hello folks and welcome back to Texas. Here in Arlington, we're hosting the HCS Kickoff Major with Optic Gaming, and it's been quite an exciting day so far. But Pool D, something that we hadn't really seen any results coming through, Luminosity, they do go down 0-2 in their pool. Spacestation right now at the top where they should be, but will play Complexity in a moment. Well, let's get into this matchup, shall we? Because we have Complexity versus Spacestation happening on the main stage. Kicking things off though, Complexity, and Tony, while I got you, there are some big names on this team, and this roster on paper honestly should be pretty aggressive with some heavy hitters such as Spartan, Precision. What are your expectations for them on this stage right now?
My expectations for this roster coming into the 2025 season was honestly big. I wanted this team to compete for that top 4 spot and maybe pull off some crazy upsets. You know, you have the likes of Spartan the Dog, which a lot of people don't talk about. Sneakily, one of the best shots in the game. Formal giving his praise recently. Renegade the same. Precision, who was one of the more underrated slayers from last year. He was absolutely lights out. I really like Huss as well as a leader. Mental on that Shopify Rebellion roster was fantastic. Like, the whole roster is so good. 3 top 12 finishes in those online tournaments, that's abysmal, honestly. For what we see and for what we know is this talent, the ceiling of this squad, this is not what you want to see. But a big win on Luminosity, maybe come on stage, show us what you got. Complexity, you still got something in you, I know it.
Well, I think we're hoping that that's an online curse, and that's not exactly how it's going to go for them in this major this weekend. But I've got to ask you about the potential of this roster, and are you excited, Goofy, to see how they progress through this weekend and, you know, what you're expecting from them with this progression?
Yeah, Complexity, to be honest, I agree, right? I think on paper and as a roster, they have so much potential, they have so much talent. For them to just be struggling like they have been online, it's surprising for me and for everybody. But what's encouraging to me is seeing how they came into this weekend, you know, seeing kind of their locked-in mentality. They had a good win against Luminosity, so really they're doing everything right so far. Going up against SSG is going to be a big test. We keep talking about the top 4, the top 3, and SSG obviously is a staple in those conversations. So if you're Complexity, come out hot, make a statement, right? This is the first event of the HCS 2025 season, so this is the time to do it.
It certainly is indeed. You mentioned statement, and I think that's honestly the same kind of mindset that Spacestation Gaming are having on the other side of the stage, right? They're looking to make a big statement here in this major, and it starts right here on the main stage. And Goofy, you know, I think it does take a minute to appreciate this roster and what they bring to the table as a team in terms of their individual skill and their prowess and how they're going to form together to create this dynamic that becomes unstoppable. What characteristics do you see coming out of this team that they can then improve on and progress with? Yeah,
I really think Spacestation needs to play to their strengths, right? They have so many skilled, you know, historic players, world champions on one roster. We talked about pacing earlier when we were talking about Optic Gaming. The same conversation goes in for SSG. It's about pacing. It's about pressing your advantages. And they have the skill. They have the experience. They have everything on paper for this roster to be winning multiple championships this year. And this, again, this is the first event of the year. Let's see what they can do.
Now, Tony, there's a lot of chatter on SSG and differing opinions on how good this roster is or can be. How do you feel about them personally?
I mean, I like Spacestation Gaming a lot. I mean, I feel like before the season started, we kind of knew that, you know, we're not going to judge this team on their first tournament of the offseason. We're going to give them time because one thing they have shown is their versatility and their ability to turn weaknesses into strength. And we're starting to see that early on. You know, didn't start off so hot where like a Shopify Rebellion and Optic, they came out hot, but slowly but surely, event after event, even at the K-Son, they showed us a bit more. And now I want to see that same versatility in game. This team has the ability to adapt on the fly, and when things start going maybe the opposite way, how are they going to respond to that? That's how SSG are truly going to be tested.
For sure. I think there's been a major clash of playstyles coming into this team, and I think it's taken a lot longer than most to progress to a kind of situation where they're a little bit more comfortable. I don't think we've seen that pure comfort level yet. I think it's going to get there. I think this is going to be a great way to find out how comfortable they truly are on land with one another. But progress is honestly the name of the game for this team, and I'm excited to see how much they have got done in the off season. And without further ado, let's head into our matchup. We have Complexity versus Spacestation Gaming happening right now.
This is our first time to get to see Space Station live here at a LAN tournament, and I couldn't be more excited because we've seen Shopify, we've seen Optic. It's now time to see the next of the big three in Space Station Gaming. What are you expecting going into a series against Complexity, who's already created an upset against Luminosity Gaming earlier on in pool play?
I was just going to say, based on paper, you'd say Luminosity is going to be the harder match in this pool. Complexity already taken on Luminosity, so now they're the new number 2, at least on paper.
Right.
But paper doesn't matter here at the event. We're here live on LAN. So.
We get Spartan the dog back in action. It's been a while since we've been able to see him. You know he's capable of making plays, getting loud, getting his team fired up. And on a team full of veterans, honestly, in Complexity, you do not expect this to be a pushover and not the easiest pool play match we've seen amongst the big three so far throughout this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly Space Station has to be the favorite here. But like you said, you have this roster of players here in Complexity that can catch fire. And I do think that watching Space Station play at their previous event, play throughout some of the opens, I think that they're not fully there to their potential yet.
As we look at the head-to-head, we have a man that needs no introduction, especially in front of the Green Wall fans in Lucid. And then on the other side, we have Mental, a man that has done it across several different titles, even outside of Halo, and still comparable numbers.
One thing also to keep in mind is that these stats are very comparable because guess what? These are Arlington stats and they both played the exact same opponent. So you're looking at Luminosity. These two are neck and neck right now when it comes to the stats that they're putting up. So I would love to see if these two match up near equally when it comes to firepower, because those are my favorite matches. When you have two teams around even slaying and seeing who's being more objective efficient.
Right, and I think it tells the story of they probably handled Luminosity in similar fashion. I didn't get to see either series so far. We've been working on the main broadcast, but what's happened on off screen is that Complexity probably handled in similar light LG that Space Station did, and that's got to give you a little bit of confidence if you're Complexity saying, like, we handled our business to the degree they did, so are we as good as them? Basically, A plus B.
Yeah, the transitive property. If A is greater than B and B is greater than C.
during class in school, so I didn't know the name of it. But
one of those properties, but yeah.
Somebody owned it.
Doesn't exactly apply here, like as we see, because you also have the rock, paper, scissors mentality. There's times where A can beat B, B can beat C, and then C can take out A. So that's what makes these pools so interesting and intriguing, but they are generally a good barometer. You start to see if one team has a clean 3-0 against a squad and the other team struggles and gets to game 5, it's likely a sense that the 3-0 team is going in as a heavy favorite and going to do work in that following team.
And sometimes it'll come down to map-mo combinations as well. We kick this series off. It's going to be Aquarius, Neutral Bomb, and that's going to be an exciting opportunity for maybe Complexity to have some strengths over a team like SSG, because we talked about it in our first series, Dave. These new map-mo combinations are going to allow opportunity for teams to create meta, to set a different pace, to throw a wrench in the strategy of SSG. Maybe you don't have it all figured out. We've been keeping this under our belt over the offseason, waiting for just this moment. Is this the map-mo combination you think Complexity wanted to see, or is this something that you think plays to the strengths of SSG, actually?
I think that this plays more on the strengths of SSG. When I start to think of like Aquarius Assault, I think of the game being a bit more methodical. Sure, you have to get the slaves. We have to decide who's bringing that bomb up. When do they bring it up? Is it going to be the person who's second in line or second closest to the front line? Is it going to be your last player bringing that up and potentially gets killed as a straggler? So those small things here and there of knowing how and when to bring that bomb up can be crucial. I think that Complexity, if I'm trying to break this down and set that theme, would love to have something just a little bit quicker. Throw in a strongholds. Let's get this game going, have a 4 or 5 minute game where they can go around slay and have the objective doing the work for itself.
The difference between an oddball and a flag or something, like far less decisions need to be made. Let's just gun up and see if we can outgun these guys and outposition ourselves that way, not with the intricacies that come with the dynamic of juggling an oddball or an assault or a bomb, for example. So as we take a look at the series layout here, Dave, live Fire Slayer is going to be game 2. We know how crucial Slayers can be for an underdog staying into a series. When you think about the players on Complexity and the opportunity that they'll have with the S7, if they can keep it away from likes of Stellar, the likes of Lucid, Spartan the dog has been known to make plays and create separations and score with that weapon. A player like Mental as well. How important is it for Complexity if things don't go well on a strictly bandit map that Aquarius traditionally is played as? to bounce back and prioritize those power weapons and put them to use.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be controlling those on those following maps and modes. I was going to say that when I start to look at the spread of maps, especially game 1 and 3, it is going to be a bit more of that slow burn when it comes to playing the objective. It's not going to be the rapid game. You're not going to have a 3 to 5 minute game on games 1 or 3. Those ones are going to go likely the whole 12 minutes on both those modes. And so they have to be there for the long haul. And some of those players, they love to play that patient mode where it's let's find some mistakes, capitalize on that, and then push out. And some players get a little more impatient and try to force some action.
We're looking to see if this goes to game 4. The strongholds is where you say Complexity might have their biggest opportunity objective-wise, it sounds. So looking to see if it does get to strongholds recharge, can we get this to a game 5? Because as an underdog, that's really all you're hoping for, right?
You just want that chance. You want that game 5 chance and to bring it there.
Yeah, if we can get it to game 5, we'll have a show on our hands Friday night. We're in action. The map's loading up, and we're about to get Space Station Gaming versus Complexity underway. If you do have interest in S&D, there is a booth inside the venue if you are here and you want to check it out. But back to the competition, back to what's important most, this HCS Arlington kickoff major, and back to the second to last match of pool play here tonight. And what a banger, we have our first chance to see the defending world champs Space Station Gaming on our screens. And I want to kick it off with Stellar if we're able to. I love that, thank you, Observer. Stellar, someone who made unbelievable plays last year to get his team a world championship, back in action on Aqua's neutral bomb, making himself a very difficult kill, finding a kill, and gets neutralized immediately. And SSG actually going to be on the back feet here early on.
And we got such a wild all-star roster here on the Space Station Gaming side. Imagine if you told me this team, let's say season 1 or season 2, you're like, this is the clear favorites on paper. But all of a sudden, we're kind of looking at this, the caster crew ranked this around 3rd place for this event. But that's kind of wild considering the caliber of talent. You have Stellar and Lucid, both who have been MVPs in their own rights throughout previous seasons.
Yeah, we've had tons of players come up like Last Shot, like Cycle, Bound, Legend, guys that have put themselves on the map and made their faces known so far throughout Halo Infinite. So it's no doubt that the competition is as high as it's ever been. Even though Space Station look like an all-star squad, they're going to have their hands full. And as this match continues to go underway, it does look like Space Station are going to have a bit of early control, or they've been able to weather the storm right now. You see Complexity was able to get that first camo. It doesn't look like that first camo was able to transition into much control, but still, back and forth these two teams will fight until there's a significant number down. As I say that, SSG go 3 down, and this will be Complexity's opportunity to try and trap SSG back at the end of their base and advance that bomb for the first time.
Gonna be tough to trap them in their base when the very first spawner, Snakebite, pushes on out and is putting the pressure over towards Complexity's side. This puts Complexity in a difficult decision. Do they go back and clear out Snakebite, or do they continue the push and try to go for the spawners on SSG? Looks like they didn't get to put pressure on their side, and it looks like Snakebite is trying to put in this pinch towards top car.
Somebody doing just a good job of being a presence on the map right now. Needs to make sure he stays alive, and unfortunately gets caught clambering there. Stellar goes down. Eco just coming off respawn as well. Snakebite just making reinforcements of Complexity come all the way back for him. I mean, you can tell he's still a problem here as they choose to leave him.
And I like this play from Snakebite. He's not overcommitting. He's not pushing back too hard. Right there, gets caught off guard, though, by Mental with the camo. But right there, Snakebite wasn't at any risk of leaving his teammates out to dry since the bomb was still in the center of the map. One way that Complexity could counter that is to push the bomb in towards the SSG base.
As soon as he goes down there, the bomb starts to get advanced on the map. The bomb actually in the base and armed by precision. It's going to be Complexity taking a 1-0 lead here very early on. All it took was flushing Snakebite out of their base, and that was the trigger moment, like you said, Dave, to get the bomb on the move. The second they do that, they are able to force fridge spawns, and with that, get a perfect executed arm to go up 1-0.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job. And I mean, you see SSG just getting slightly outslayed, actually a little more than slightly outslayed. They're definitely getting outslayed here at the start of this game, but for Complexity to take advantage of that slay lead and get that first arm just speaks volumes to how strong they're playing on this map and mode. And look at that stat line though from Sparty McFly, 10 kills, 3 assists, and 3 deaths to kick off the first 3 minutes of this game.
Welcome back, Sparty, making a statement here with your first couple of respawns on the main stage. 10-3-3 against a team like SSG is exactly what Complexity need in order to create an upset of this magnitude. They've started off hot, they've got that first arm, but this is SSG's real first opportunity to have map control.
Stellar trying to find fights, and the first thing he meets is a grenade exploding right in his face. Gets the trade out with the Huss, but Huss will be happy to take those trades when he's back in his own base. You're just at least trying to relieve some pressure, give your teammates some room so that they can push on out or get a fair 1v1.
3 go down for Complexity right here, and it's Precision that's the last player alive. He's still alive. Haven't been able to flush him out, but this is going to be the first camouflage of the game for SSG. It's in the hands of Snakebite. They're finally able to take Precision down, so they know all of Complexity should be stuck on their side of the map. As I say that, though, they break open the door pink side. Eco and Stellar get taken down. Snakebite's got to be careful. He will be by himself with this camo right now, able to spot Mental. Mental gets a glimpse of him on the jump. It's just a trade to negate the camo from Snakebite that Complexity will take as they free themselves from the trap that they were once in.
Look at that. You see the routes that Snakebite's trying to take. He's trying to make sure he's giving himself the best chance to win the easiest fight, create some space for his teammates, but sometimes you can't just beat an eagle eye. Someone's going to see you, and you got to fight out that battle.
Spartan gets the bomb all the way in front of the base before getting taken down. Precision able to trade him out and get that bomb back into the circle. 3 go down for SSG. Jumping up, no problem. A great decision to drop the bomb and continue the arm. It's a 2-0 lead for Complexity Gaming.
Just so well done by them there. Getting the kills, instantly moving up that bomb, getting the arms so quick. They're not wasting time. They aren't just taking a slow route across the map. You see them get a kill, and they are flying.
Complexity dominating so far in this game. One, SSG cannot get on their feet. We've seen them with map control maybe once, and just as that happened, multiple go down. Precision with the perfect flank. Gets a huge melee on the first, a cleanup on the second, and the combo for this double. It's an unofficial triple kill for Precision here as he controls his utility closet, and this is exactly what you want to be doing if you're Complexity. That utility closet blocked forces fridge and flag spawns, and then you can trap them. Perfect plays by Precision there.
Precision topping the charts in kills, has 2 arms for his team, not wasting any time. And just such brilliant play there too with the plasma pistol. Some people are always just gonna wait for that thing to charge up, and he's like, nope, perfect time, just gonna tap this, melt the shields, and finish off that fight.
Perfect plays by Precision, perfect shots by Sparty right now. 15, 5, and 8, heating up and found himself a camouflage as well. They do know Lucid snuck out of the base. You can see Sparty looking around for him, can't quite spot him, so turns his eyes on the Eco. It's a trade with the camouflage once again, but a trade is a win when you're up 2-0. 6 minutes and less on the clock right now. Pay attention to that as this clock continues to dwindle. SSG's win cons are going out the window.
I was gonna say, one thing that SSG has going for them is they've somehow snuck this across the map at a time where Complexity's had control. That has to be tough for Complexity. I was about to lambast SSG right there and say, hey, they've only had control of pink. They haven't done a good job of controlling gems or car side. That's been Complexity for the taking. But just as I was about to state that, SSG in a neutral situation, break that bomb over, get an arm, and get themselves on the board.
And an absolute,
unexpected arm.
An absolute overextension on Complexity's part. You saw one player on Complexity was in the enemy base. As the bomb is starting to arm at his own base, you have to keep tabs of where the bomb is at all times. A completely different asset or a decision that you're trying to think about the entire time you're playing this game. Right now, the bomb, once again being armed, however, we're off screen. In the meantime, that bomb being armed could have ended the game in Complexity's favor if Snakebite wasn't here to stop it. Snakebite's gonna try to get that bomb out, does so successfully, but the game could have ended just there. When you're playing neutral bomb, Dave, how important is it to continuously know where that bomb is and make your decisions based off of it?
It's important to know where it's at, but I would say at this highest level of play, you're less frequently seeing teams just try to forcefully bring that bomb over or get a sneaky arm. That was a bit more popular in something like Halo 2, where you could have a bit more chaos going on and sneak by with it. But, you know, with how good these players are today, and with how much they're paying attention to what's going on across the map, you see that much less frequently. But it still can happen, as we just saw there during that previous arm with SSG.
Or just went down for Complexity. It's Husk that's coming off respawn still. Snakebite with the camo and the bomb, more importantly, in the utility of Complexity right now. SSG trying to tie this game up. A double kill is exactly what Snakebite needed to do here in order to open up this base. They have to get a touch on this bomb. There's 3 still currently down. They're going to be blocking util. There is 1 player still in the back of the base, but Snakebite is here with camo. Unsuspected, the bomb being armed. As Snakebite and the rest of SSG defend, they're going to tie this game up 2-0.
Despite a slow start there, SSG put a second arm on the board. And this is starting to look a little scarier here for Complexity. They were up in slays, but the moment that SSG start to match that slaying power and get a little control across the map, now we're seeing what SSG can do when they have control of car side. When Complexity is spawning in the fridges and running through pink.
Feels like all the momentum Complexity once was running with is now starting to be deflated, is now gone. Now all of a sudden we're at even footing. 3 minutes on the clock, but the next arm will win this game no matter which team is able to do it. Snakebite still, since that second arm is in the base of Complexity, finally flushed out, but not without being an absolute nuisance before getting taken down.
No, he saw Sparty warping in right there. He's like, I gotta get out of here. This is not too thrilled about that spawn. But Eco gonna try and move this up. One risk that we see here when teams try to move up the bomb prematurely is they put their team at a numbers disadvantage. If you give a free death bringing that bomb across the map, it's just too much of a loss that your team can't really afford at this high level of play. You can't give up a 0-for-1 death without getting a significant amount of damage onto that opponent, and that's what the risk of bringing the bomb in early is doing.
Yeah, you saw each time Eco touched that bomb and the indicator went away for Complexity, they pre-nated him each time. This plasma pistol is doing absolute work. Husk finds his second kill as the bomb is coming across the bridge. Ooh. The rest of the defense is Lucid and Snakebite for Spacestation. They stand strong so far, finding that first kill. Precision is going to pick up the camo in the meantime, but it does look like SSG are in a promising spot. I say that Precision embarrasses 2 of them, and now all of a sudden you have a lot to deal with this camouflage on the loose.
Anyone in front of Precision I just see is dying pretty much instantly, and somehow he's living with a sliver of health, just doing so good during every single fight, continually making the correct decision, hitting his shots, just dealing damage nonstop.
Finds Stellar out, and that's Precision as the last player alive. These are big kills.
Like I said, everyone in front of him just dies. He even sees just Lucid for that tiniest bit of time and gets that fish. He was in a 1v4 situation, takes out 2 players. That all of a sudden changes it completely when Complexity is spawning in a 3v2 versus a 3v4.
Yeah, if he gets taken down there, we could have been calling game shortly after, but because he finds 2 kills, he releases all the pressure from Spacestation in that potential push. Well done by Precision, obviously at 21, 11, and 16, he's doing his part. But who else can from Complexity can step up and make the difference to punch their ticket to a game 1 win here? Mental on screen, taken down. Stellar with some good shots in the utility closet, able to stay alive. Needs to try and get a shield back here as he's able to relocate front base. That bomb still not good. You can tell that plasma pistol is our prioritization for Complexity with the damage that they've been able to do. Nobody finds home there, and kills traded in Spacestation's favor once again.
Yeah, neither team is rushing or panicking about this bomb just yet. They're saying, next arm basically wins here. Let's get some slays, keep some control, and then let the bomb happen after that.
Good entry from Eco to open up maybe some of the defense that Complexity has right now. 2 go down for Complexity. It's a 3-on-2 situation. Eco challenged with moving this bomb up again with the help of Snakebite. Unfortunately, Snakebite gets taken down, and Complexity gonna regain map control until Stellar shows up, doing Stellar things, finds himself a double, and looks to push the 3rd. Can he find the 3rd? That's an unofficial triple from Stellar. As if he can turn that corner, it could have been something great for SSG here. But the battle for camo was what was more important in the meantime. As you see, Eco gets taken down. No burn on the camo, but does throw it in front of space for Lucid to pick up.
Yeah, Lucid's got this camo. Now let's see what he can do with this power-up. We've seen in many other hands thus far, with varying results, but looks like Spacestation pushing this bomb, and Precision, the only one really left that can stop this.
Yeah, they're gonna harm
players
this.
are spawning in the fridge, and I don't know if anyone can stop this. That's gonna be Snakebite and SSG arming 3 unanswered bomb arms to reverse sweep game number 1.
Yeah, it took them a minute to wake up, but SSG figuring out a way to not only get an arm on the board, but to take 3 unanswered arms after the hot start from Complexity. SSG showing you that they are here to play, that you thought this comeback was possible. Well, now it's not. at least here in game one. And what a performance to kind of weather the storm that they had to, knowing that their backs were against the wall what felt like very early in that game.
Yeah, it honestly looked just really bad for them off the start. They felt like a little rigid and too predictable for me. It felt like every single time they spawned, like, okay, well, SSG, they're just going to push out pink, push the opposite fridge, try to clear up some space. Didn't feel like they had that flexibility to make other maneuvers. And then out of nowhere, after that second arm, they decided to move that bomb across the map without having the slaves across the map, whether they recognized the overcommitment towards their gen or something, and just flooded the complexity base to get that first arm. And I feel like that had to throw off complexity, because after that, you saw Precision saying, maybe we get our own sneaky arm, versus what was working before. They were just outslaying and getting those arms from the complexity side.
When I look at this complexity roster and I see the names on it, Precision's the most excited that I get when I read that name, because that's a player I put a lot of promise into in year 2 of Infinite. And since then, it hasn't been really at the same level as the last shots, the cycles. The success hasn't been there at tournaments. He's individually played great, but hasn't had like the team or really the successes that you would have thought a player playing to the caliber every single time we're on his screen. It shows. We saw glimpses of what we know to be a great player. For this complexity team to try to bounce back, how important is it for Precision to continue the pace that we saw him throughout that game, winning his pivs and making the plays that he's capable of?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason that you saw that dominated start there for SSG. Obviously, total team effort, but end of the day, when you saw who was getting a lot of those finishes, who was winning some of those 1v1s or 1v2 situations over in the gen or when they had camo, that was Precision.
Right, and taking a look at the head-to-head Slayer stats right now, there's only been one Slayer, I believe, to account on this scoreboard so far, but we're going to get a lot of stats here as this pool play goes on. 19 and 10 was what Mental gave the likes of Luminosity Gaming earlier on today, and Eco with the 17 and 13, a 1-3-1, and when Eco's slaying out with the likes of Lucid and Stellar on his team, you know good things are happening for his team. Game 2 is going to be Live Fire Slayer. We got the S7, we have Camouflage. And the way these boys are shooting already, I'm excited to see where that weapon goes. Hopefully Snakebite doesn't throw it off the map. We know he's famous for that a lot of the times. Please, Snakebite, keep the sniper on the map.
Let people have some fun, come on.
It's for the people. Eco is who we're choosing to start this one off with. He's going to go for nest control early on, denying any push out of Big Door, and this is a lot of information he's able to give the rest of his team.
More deduction at this point, yeah, like you said, the information is saying, nobody's over here, so you guys are getting overloaded towards top center or towards camo.
Looks like Huss was the one that got away with the snipe at first, and an interesting strategy for Complexity to rotate towards Big Door right now, because Camouflage will be coming up here in about right now, honestly, and it looks like all of Complexity have opted to not play for that camo and just play around Huss with this S7.
And it looks like they are opting just to give that camo up. They're already set up all the way over at green. They're not just going to try to force their way over 5 seconds before camo and just give a couple free kills up. They will contest where it's possible, but these teams know 5, 10, 20 seconds beforehand whether it's just one that they're going to give up this go around.
Honestly, a mature decision. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but this is where this is the play. We'll find out if it works out. Eco gets behind enemy lines, able to clean up the damage on the player A Plat, and now these players back green are about to get collapsed on. Eco waiting on his teammates' help, and the second he sees his teammates here comes the push.
Yeah, in the end, did not pay off. I think there's a difference between not contesting the camo and not taking up just a little bit more space. You could have pushed on over and towards the garage, or maybe taken up a little more space towards a pillow, or at least rat tunnel or something like that, just to give some more breathing room. Yes, you want to slow it down and give your sniper an opportunity to get some picks across the map, but you're not going to give your sniper the best opportunities if you don't have multiple angles across the map.
Look at that, Eco throws Stellar the snipe, knowing what he can do with it, and already starting to put it to work. Finds Sparty bottom middle, another player back green. He does have a teammate, I believe, back green to potentially try and help him. Maybe that's an X though. That teammate already erased from the map. Stellar, the last guy alive with this snipe in the backhand. I believe he's going to be out of ammo, but just like that, SSG's control gets taken down.
Zero shield. So even though that was actually pretty wild, we did see the Stellar get that melee off, and he thought just kind of going down for nothing. But that second spike grenade that he threw that was trying to go for that stick at the very end, those spikes blew off that back sidewall nest and got that player to absolute zero shield.
Nobody, unfortunately, able to clean it up. 15-11 right now. Spacestation still in the lead, but I guess if you're Complexity, giving up camo and putting the situation you were back green, a dangerous spot. Stellar trying to use that combo himself. Huss saying, no, 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 that's a weapon we use to success. Second camouflage of the game is up, and Complexity do have a numbers advantage momentarily, but Stellar's going to spawn inside screens right now and allow reinforcements for SSG's side of things. Who's going to be able to get their hands on this camo? Ego choosing to try and find a little bit more information out before he goes for it, and because he kind of wavers for just a second, he gets taken down. That camo's still on the ground somewhere outside live fire, or outside by the camouflage. It's going to be Mental that's been able to sneak away with it, and perfect time for the snipe to come up as well.
Yeah, grabs that sniper, has camo, now only behind by 3 kills. It was a 6-kill lead, I believe, for Spacestation just a little bit earlier, so let's see if they can close this gap here. Spacestation not making it easy, though. They're hiding, they're making that camo player go around the corners to get some information. In fact, Sparty's gonna be the first one to find where these opponents are at.
Good route by Mental, able to get a back shot onto the player A plat, finds himself a double as well, but kills are being traded right now. That's not bad if you're Space Station, but the rest of this snipe could be where Complexity finds the difference in these 3 kills.
Now we're gonna find out, does Complexity have the same strategy as SSG? Are they gonna pass the snipe off to someone else, or just leave it in the hands of Mental or whomever picks it up first? I'm usually a big proponent of, if the game's going a little bit faster, you gotta keep it in the hands. You can't just try to hand it off every single time, give players chances to shine. But if the game slows down enough, you gotta go with your top ace. You gotta pass that over to your player who knows the best positions and knows how to get those picks in those standoff situations.
I feel like it's so difficult on a map like Live Fire to find those opportunities to not give up so much space in order to do so. So Mental gonna be able to at least keep this one in his hands for now, and he can go off with the snipe. He's a great stalemate sniper, so you almost want to slow this game down and allow him to do his thing. But the battles is consuming a nice body shot cleaned up onto the Quantum player. Lucio can't get out of there before he gets taken down. And Mental doing a phenomenal job of rotating perfectly around where SSG has been on the map to where he hasn't been a hyper-focus at any point in time throughout this light. Camo is coming up, so he doesn't want to be the guy in front. It's 15 seconds, and Mental waiting for his teammates to push in front of him before he re-engages with this combat.
I like that play, though, from Complexity. Instead of just stopping at the camo and trying to get control of it, they tried to take up more ground over at the scoreboard and push on through. Fortunately, it doesn't pay off as Stellar gets a flank, gets a kill and stream, making a double kill, and camo is popping.
It's going to get burned for sure. Precision gets taken down. I love that play by Stellar, however. It was Complexity not being able to keep tabs on SSG right there, Dave, because they thought if they pushed in front of the camo that SSG would be all in front of them.
They thought they'd outrun them, and then SSG at the same time like, well, guess what? We're doing the same thing. We're flanking over at C.
Right, it's chess, not checkers, ladies and gentlemen. SSG showing you that chess right now is up 5 kills so far throughout this game to a comfortable lead, but it's been teetering in this 5-3 kill margin for so long. It just takes one set of slays for Complexity to get back into this.
We're gonna have to see what's happening with this next round. Obviously, you see all these players from Complexity clumped up over at Tower. I think it's totally fine to have those players there as you find someone from SSG or you go around and finish off a kill. But one of my critiques earlier from Complexity is as they got that first sniper, they're all consolidated just at green. You need more separation across the map so that you have people that have angles to finish off kills, or you have different areas to run away to. If you're all stuck in one corner, there's nowhere to go.
This is the moment. Spartan the dog with a full sniper in his hand. We have seen what this young man can do. And now it's his opportunity to keep his team in this series right now. It's a 3-kill game, and unfortunately Sparty only gets 1 shot off, gets taken down, can't do any damage, and that could be where the dominoes start to fall against Complexity. SSG now sniping the hands of Lucid, and we've seen highlight reels from him as well. Can't hit the body shot with the snipe, but easy teamwork makes the kill and gives them a 5-kill lead once again for Lucid and co.
Yep, and now with this 5-kill lead, this sniper, Lucid, can not let get in the hands of Complexity with much ammo. These are times where it might feel counterintuitive, but I don't hate wasting 2 bullets. Just fire a couple on the ground, and then if you ever get that pressure from the opposing team, you can fire off the rest of that clip and make sure they have nothing to really swing them back into this game.
Strategically, you're right, Dave. As a fan, I just want to see headshots with this knife. That's too much to ask. Lucid not choosing to waste ammo does put the first bullet to work. Unfortunately, he loses 2 teammates, so this game's still a 4-kill game, making a 5-kill game. He should rip Sparty's head off. It's camo coming up, and that's the pick. That's the pick you need. Lucid's got so much pressure, though. The rest of Complexity are out by camo. He's able to stay alive. 1 bullet in the snipe, but that camo has got to be Complexity's after they have forced Lucid off the angle. Never mind, Lucid's back with a headshot. Eco finds a double in the feed, and the last player alive, bottom middle. Can't land the stick either, so there is still a player for Complexity competing for this camo. Trades coming across the board, 48-44 all of a sudden. Complexity, yes, they've got kills competing for this camo, but what damage has been done? It's a 3-kill game, yes, 2-kill game, but SSG need 2 more kills to end this one.
Was that just a camo snag?
48-47,
Camo
precision
was
as camo.
snagged. 1-kill game here. Complexity showing no fear. There's a lot of times teams will turtle up as soon as the opposing team has 48 kills, not wanting to be one of the foul deaths. Complexity fighting fire with fire, pushing out, getting all this info, and getting themselves back in this game.
Oh my God,
Precision
SSG is
knows
trapped.
where they're all at.
SSG is trapped right
He
now.
knows
They're
where
going
they're
to try
all
to
at. He gets that first fight, but does
49-48.
Unfortunately gets taken down. That melee from Eco changes everything.
49-48, and everyone on the map starts to crawl. Right now, all of SSG towards green and towards the scoreboard, all of Complexity towards the snipe. Who's going to try and make the play? Complexity don't have any room for error. That 1 kill is a massive kill if damage is able to be treated out. It's Stellar with the quantum right now. He's got to be aggressive, and a trade comes through. Lucid gets the melee, and this game ends 50-49 as there's trade in melees. It comes down to 1 kill, Dave. 1 kill. That's 1 bullet that Sparty could have hit with the snipe. That's 1 difference that you could have made with your life, and all of a sudden the series is tied up. But it's also 1 kill away from SSG taking a 2-0 lead.
That is insane. And SSG getting by the skin of their teeth. I mean, those games, they cannot be feeling great about. You know they're going to go back and review that tonight and say, all right, what are we changing? What are we doing different? Those are not the margins that they want to be winning by. But at the end of the day, just winning through a pool play is the most important part. A win is a win, but you don't want to just be putting yourself in all these heartbreakers here.
You want to talk about heartbreakers, though. Think of it from the other side of the stage. You're up 2-0, and you figure out a way to lose 3-2 in game 1. You just lost 50-49 game 2. You feel robbed of not being in this series right now. You feel like you have done everything right up into a point, and you still have dug yourself the biggest hole you could dig 3 games into a series.
Yeah, and I think at some point it is that clutch factor, or there are so many coin tosses that happen at this high level of Halo. Like I've talked with Lunchbox before, and he's just like, teams are real good. There's a lot of games that just kind of come down to that 1 or 2 final kills that happen at the end, or a couple decisions here or there that really swing the entire game and the entire series. It's tough for that team just to take off and go grab that flag and get the route that they want.
It's one of those game types I always feel that if you go 4 down, that's
It's
a really
trouble.
bad sign. If you can manage to be the last guy alive and stay up long enough for respawners to like compete, then you can extend a lot of these situations. But the second you're like, oh, there's 4 dead, I can just like G-slide and quickly get to where I need to be, that's where you run into problems. That's where flags get pulled, and all of a sudden you don't really feel like you had an opportunity to defend it. So making sure when you do lose the first guy or the first 2 guys, you make sure that you play your life and that you do not become an easy kill. We'll see how well that's able to be performed here.
To get to those flags, you need those slays. And both these teams have so much slaying power on both their sides. We're going to see which ones can snowball that lead a little bit more. And unlike some of those other maps like Aquarius and such, this one can be very punishing when your team gets the positions that they want, gets the lead, and there are not very safe routes that you can take to get out of that spawn trap.
What's promising, I think, coming into this game, if you're Complexity, you're down 0-2, you showed that you can slay with the likes of SSG. You showed that the Slayer 50-49, yeah, we can slay with them just about every single time. And then in game 1, it felt like they overslayed or outslayed SSG. Stellar finding himself that thrust before he goes for the S7. Going to use it to thrust back, get an idea of where Spartan's going for that snipe. Can't hit the easy shots on a Spartan. Loses 2 members as well, so Overshield actually going in the hands of Mental. And now Stellar, one of the last 2 players alive, needs to be careful.
Oh my God.
Spartan makes him pay, and this is what I'm talking about, Dave. This could be an opportunity quickly for Complexity Gaming.
This is looking so good for Complexity. I was going to say, the amount of respect that Stellar had saying, I missed these couple shots, I'm not going to give him the chance just to hit this shot here from Mohawk back at me after I've missed a couple. And then for Sparty to come flying out like that, pinpointing his exact position to get that pick and open the opportunity for his team to get the flag.
Must got no shield.
What route are we taking with this one?
We're going underneath, Dave. We're hitting the tunnels.
I I think the downside of going tunnels here is sometimes that means the opposing team can go opposite tunnels. They can go take over the top of the map. And so we're going to have to see if this actually punishes Complexity here for taking this route. In the end, they get the flag, so no big deal. But there are 2 members down here for Complexity.
Ever since Stellar missed that snipe, they've been paying for it right now. Sparty's starting to pop off, 4-1-0, playing perfect Halo to get his team a 1-0 lead here so far, continuing to hit bodies. And an untraditional flag run, yes, but they make it work. Fantastic. Complexity get a 1-0 lead.
Did he get another body?
Yeah.
He just hits every no-scope. I always watch these VODs, or I watch the tournaments, I see every pro hit every single no-scope, and then I'm like, I'll just fire up a matchmaking game here, right here. And I just whiff a couple, and then, yeah, it doesn't work the exact same way for me.
That'll be a day, Dave, where you're tearing to your grandchildren. You used to hit every snipe and beat.
I will, and there'll only be a couple clips that exist, and they'll believe it. They're like, all right.
It'll be 360p.
The game's in 15 FPS, 480p, but I guess you can
sure,
hit that.
Grandpa. Let's go to bed. The kids nowadays, their reaction time, their precision, it's unbelievable. And right now, we're seeing SSG try to fight back, try to answer back from the hot start of Complexity. Lucid found himself the second overshow of the game, finds himself a double spot. Sparty as well. Can he get the triple? The triple is there for Lucid as 3 go down for Complexity.
Might go
Lucid,
for a new one.
Eco, flag on the move already. He's going to punch this one in, tie this game up. And honestly, Lucid still has control of the enemy sniper's side. And with these snipes coming up, you know, Lucid, part of him wants to wait for it, but he's got to help his teammate try and potentially turn this into a double cap.
Yeah, now they have to decide if they want to just sit back and grab the snipe. It looks like they both push forward for this fight. Snakebite and Lucid both getting taken down. And that's going to be Sniper in the hands of Complexity.
It's going to be Precision starting to show us what he's capable of, and this young man can pop off with the snipe if given the opportunity. On the other side of the map, SSG cannot get their snipe just yet. Mental able to take down Eco. There's another member of SSG over towards that snipe. It's going to be Lucid, but that snipe not being in the hands of SSG gives Complexity a lot of control of this map. Precision's going to take his time here. He's on an island by himself, top their plat. Knows he needs to play his life. There is going to be a member of SSG that we see from the observer mode that has snuck through to the enemy snipe. So Precision actually reads this and is trying to make sure he doesn't get flanked.
Yeah, they know that players behind. Looks like Mental and Precision able to take on Stellar there. But this is going to be a tough spot for Space Station. 2 of them are down. They have a sniper in their attic. Spartan has another sniper. Let's actually go to a Space Station listen and see how they're going to break out the spawn trap.
Go in main ramp. Hear that. Joke. One shot, top right. Here. Yo, top right. Top right. Two shot. He's one shot top right. Our sniper should kill me. Still sniping top right.
I'm just trying to guard our flag. They're gonna have it.
Yo, we gotta stay alive through this OS, okay?
We're gonna try to pull this, by the way.
Yeah, he's going. He's trying to go. He's almost out. One shot long. Above us. There's 3 shots on back right.
One air back, one in. On my X, literally on my X, one in.
There's another guy out somewhere.
Yes, yes.
Stay alive.
Our elbow, go for it.
Watch flag.
Another one's got shots on him.
Nice, two dead. Yo, last two.
Our street and...
Stay alive, guys. They're trapped here.
One red pistol, and somewhere in the brick. Yo, same tree.
Yep. He backed up.
Top mid side.
Top left. There's 2. So.
It's on me.
Stay alive.
I'm gonna die.
I have your stickies.
Who killed you? Yo, our hut. One shot, Tommy.
Dude, yo, stickies again.
Yep.
Still one red side street.
One shot or back up. One shot low hut. Our low hut. One shot.
Hey, still blinking.
Tommy.
Hear that.
Pretty good. I can pull this.
He's on the brick. Right here. He's weak, Kevin. Do that. Is he on me?
He's one shot. Back. Our window.
He's dead, guys. Look, they're hut me.
See that? Stay alive.
Coming top mid.
Here, good.
He's on my X weak. He's in the pistol. On my X though.
One shot on touch. They're flag. One dead.
Running our flag.
Two dead. 3, 2 dead. You guys should kill spawners. I'm going back to our hub with Brayden.
We saw Complexity with both snipes, both Precision and Spartan ripping the faces off SSG, but unbelievable kill from Eco and some damage right after it stops this game from ending in Complexity's favor. He stops the run almost single-handedly, and now it feels like SSG finally have some ground.
Yeah, difficult position to be in there when you have snipes on both sides, towards Attic, towards opposite snipe. You almost even heard them. It's not as much as, let's kill the snipe. They said, snipe's got to be running low on ammo. They've been counting how many of their bodies have been falling to the ground.
Sure
and
as
then
hell
also
hope
keeping
so.
back on that overshield, saying, we're trying to take this on his team. He can't have as much overshield left. So even though Precision got that sick double kill towards the back, like you said, that heroic play by Eco to get that stop onto Huss and help get a little damage onto Precision before that flag got far and away to Attic. The other thing I really liked during the listening is once they knew the last two members are on Snipe Ridge, they said, we can just hold them off here. Don't panic, don't go flying towards the flag, play your life. Nobody is at risk of grabbing this flag right now. We know where every other member on the opposing team is. And that's what these top squads do is they keep track of where players are at, and they're gonna know when they only know where 3 players are at. And that's a time where they're saying, there's a potential flank, there's a potential something going on, pay attention, watch your backs.
What an odd situation we just saw come in place. It was Complexity with Overshield pushing the flag, and it was so quiet. SSG played towards the snipe side of the map. They were able to get a couple of kills in their base, but somehow, some way, Mental and the other member of Complexity able to get this flag on the move. Turns the corner, actually. Here's that snipe shot. Thinks he's close. He's actually not. Lucid falls off the map, and Mental running this flag up the ramp has the opportunity. Stellar, the last player alive, not in position, and Mental will cap the flag, and Complexity will win game 3 and answer back to push this series to a game 4.
Complexity just in control. I would say, what, 80, 90% of the time with those snipers, it felt like any time that SSG got a sniper, it wasn't held for long. And there was someone from Complexity quickly ready to scoop that up, get crossfire going, and then also capitalize and turn it into a flag cap. There's something different besides just getting kills, and then it's more important to get those kills that transition into a cap.
Yeah, and it was Overshields also that played a massive piece to the puzzle in a lot of the success we saw Complexity have. So many Overshields going into their hands, and with those Overshields, they're able to get those flags on the move. Even though the Overshield player gets back whacked there at the end, it was like so much presence that that Overshield player forces from SSG's side that it's easy kills now being distributed amongst Complexity now that they've overextended for this Overshield player. Complexity, I mean, we couldn't have written the script any better than that for that game 3 with the amount of power weapon control they had. We said, what will happen when a team gets both snipes, gets the Overshields? The level of success that we see, the players, the caliber of players throughout the top 12, you give anybody that level of control, and bad things are gonna happen to the team that's on defense there. Yeah, the telling moment for me there was both snipes are had. We're watching it from precision screen. Spartan's on the street, and you just see like snipe shots going across, and you just see in the kill feed, Spartan snipes. It's like, oh, so anyone that Precision's not currently sniping, Spartan's taking care of them. And we went to the listen in, obviously, and we're hearing SSG saying, like, they're almost out of ammo. Yeah, it's because your faces are, there's bodies of SSG lying all around the map.
Those are the sort of call-outs I'm doing these days where, like, I get rocket, I'm like, they're out of rockets, guys. Their rockets are gone. Don't worry about that. Took care of that power-up.
Yep. Yeah. I made him use 2. That's a win in your books, or honestly in mine as well. Absolutely not, but I mean, let's bring this back to the series. Complexity 3-2 loss, up to 50-49, heartbreaking. More of a dominant game 3 than we've seen of any of the 2 wins that we've seen from SSG in this series. Going into recharge strongholds, a very fast-paced game. There is a camouflage and a shock rifle. What does Complexity need to do in this game 4 to push this to Solitude Slayer for game 5?
I mean, realistically, nothing different. Like, the way that they're playing great. Sure, they've lost a couple really close games, but you're losing this to one of the best teams in the world. So I don't really think they have to go back to the drawing board or play significantly different. It's, hey, keep winning your one-on-ones. This map has a lot of isolated fights. Good luck fighting someone like Precision when you get over towards pipes or you get into control. He's got to be winning a lot of those individual fights, and there is the start that Complexity want. They're going to go instantly for that trip cap. Where are these spawns going to happen? It looks like they're looking for the long haul, but it looks like long haul is not happening. It's going to be the elevator. They're going to hold the trip cap for about 5 seconds. Scratch that. Precision is going to try to continue a little bit longer.
They're going to lose C, but they're going to get A. Like, you'll take this every day of the week if you're Complexity.
Swap it back, and I think you would much rather hold A and B rather than B and C.
We do have a member of SSG inside B. Maybe he jumped out momentarily trying to get inside the pipes, but I mean, the exact start you want if you're Complexity. The momentum from game 3 rolls into the start of game 4. You get the perfect camo play. You go 4 for 0 at the start, and now you're able to hop into C. There is a little bit of a cat and mouse game here going on where you hope to walk away with more than 25 points, I would say. But let's see how long this control still stands. They get him out of B initially with a grenade from Mental, it appears. Precision rotating like a madman across A to C with his shock rifle, continuing to put it to work. He's going to have more players to deal with.
Wow.
And he can deal with them no problem as he finds the double kill.
As I said before, this map, based on some individual plays I've been seeing, is going to be playing great here for Complexity and Precision. Every single one-on-one he's taken on right now, he is just winning. Insanity.
Who's next? Precision says as he takes down just about 3 players, making his way towards the elevators. Just a 37-0 lead. So SSG have done a good job of scrappily staying in this with the dominant performance that we have seen Complexity kick this one off with.
But one worry I would have if I'm a Complexity player or fan is seeing that highlight reel off the screen to start this off. You know, they get the trip cap to kick it off. You see those incredible plays by Precision over in the elevator. That only amounted to a 35-point lead. You want to see your team go to a spot where you see someone making plays like that. Yeah, they're going, you're up by 70 or 100 points.
Yeah, something else has got to be going on outside of this for Spacestation to stay in this game. Actually, just about to take the lead. Snakebite has camo, gets some information on Sparty. That's a free kill on the Sparty. They keep it at a 2-2. A third player goes down. Snakebite's going to hop into B and immediately continue transition of control of the map for SSG. This is perfect strongholds play and a trip cap now in SSG's hands, and SSG have the lead. All it took was the second camo coming up for SSG to all of a sudden start to build what is a more significant lead than Complexity ever had at the start.
Yeah, and we were on Precision's POV throughout the majority of that start, but looking at this scoreboard, looking at the KDs, Snakebite 8-2 to kick off this game. So different story being told from Snakebite's POV.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Just as I say, Precision ain't losing a one-on-one, we go on Snakebite's POV and he hits those perfect shots and takes over the elevator.
You mess with a snake, you get the bite. 10, 1, and 2, and he is woken up here in game 4. The stats game 3 throw him out the window. He's more focused on ending this series before it goes the distance. 91-37 and climbing is a trip cap for SSG, and they're making Complexity pay, unlike Complexity was able to do against SSG here, and a stick on his way out.
Just like that, baiting the player over to charge him into the elevator, and just like he got hit with earlier, you saw on his death screen maybe 60, 90 seconds ago, Snakebite getting stuck at elevator, he returns the favor back to Spartan.
This is a big moment right now. Complexity had 3 down. Lucid was the last player alive. He was able to stay alive inside of pipes. Now Lucid waits for respawns. They're able to get a pick and able to get back into B. They're not able to get B though. Lucid with a bit of an over challenge, and Stellar goes for camo. They don't end up double capping that. They lose the camouflage, and Complexity will keep control and continue to score. And they get the reset onto B. The battle for B commences, and it looks like Snakebite able to pick up a couple of kills. Mental trying to back down Snakebite from being able to do any further damage or make his way into B, able to take him down. But Complexity continuing to keep control here. B is eventually going to go in SSG's favor, but now they have to transition to C, where Complexity have their eyes on now.
Yeah, Complexity, they're going to have to get something rolling in their favor again. Part of that's going to be shutting down Snakebite. Part of that's going to be just stopping the bleeding like they have, putting a few points on the board here. But you know, you can't hold this A plus C setup for very long. They're going to have to trade off one of those strongholds and try to get B. Looks like decision might be made for them. Looks like they're going to try to go on and take towards B, but Precision, only one left in pipes. Can't really take B all by himself.
Yeah, Lucy's going to have that information. They're going to want to get Precision out of these pipes. Such a vital place to control here. Unfortunately, Precision not able to get taken down there for SSG fans. He's able to stay alive and create so much havoc here. You saw SSG try to push him out. Because they're not able to, they go for dead. And now Complexity once again with a trip cap. This time, can they make SSG pay for it? Immediately coming off spawn, 3 kills go in SSG's favor, and that's going to lose all control of the momentary trip cap you just had.
Look at this. Stellar, uncertain where the pressure's going to come from. You know, he knows to be pushed at some point. Somehow they get that reset. And I was going to say, some of the most unforgiving resets or most swingy battles you have here as far as strongholds goes happens here on Recharge, whether it's at the elevator or towards the batteries. Those ones can be devastating as you get the hill to 99% and someone just picks you off, resets it, and goes back into pipes.
We haven't seen complete control held for 2-2 long here, and you're wondering when is going to be that breaking moment, because so many trip caps back and forth these two teams are colliding. It's a grapple of the camo for Huss. He's going to end up burning that one, and that's going to be numbers advantage for SSG. It's a 3-on-2 on the map right now. C and B controlled by SSG. They have their eyes set on A. There is going to be a player that hops into B off respawn for Complexity, but I don't think he's going to be able to get B by himself. SSG going to opt to get B up as they try to assist each other over at A. They win the fights over at A, and now it's an AC hold for Spacestation Gaming.
And as we said before, the AC hold, that also applies to Spacestation Gaming. They're not going to be able to hold this for an extended period of time. At some point, Stellar or Elevator will be overloaded. So they need to, at some point, pick their battle, choose what they're going to give up, and try to take batteries during this battle.
Stellar gets a ton of information, spots two players going bottom, middle, C flat right now, able to also help on the play with the grapple, and also handles his business as well. A massive double kill, but if you look at the scoreboard right now, it's just Stellar and Precision on the map, and Precision able to get great damage to deny Stellar from going towards B. That stops SSG from being able to trade A and B right there, just by Precision having the angle.
Yeah, and it looks like you did see SSG trying to take batteries, but like you brought up, that angle so crucial. And the whole point of that strat, like I said before, is during that AC setup, the entire end goal is how do we end up with B and still keep one of these strongholds? In the end, weren't able to transition that, and that Space Station was stuck with C. And now they're in panic mode because it's going to be a trip cap for a short period of time.
They get a couple of kills. That's going to allow them to at least get A, but the battle gets won by Mental and Pipes right now. You see Miko trying to capitalize on Luce's damage. He's able to do just so. Opens up a little bit of space for SSG coming off respawn. They are able to hop in B as well. There's going to be multiple players trying to compete for this. One already snuck into Pipes from Complexity. He is able to get in B behind enemy lines, able to get the reset. How many times have we seen this? Precision gets the kill into B off screen, gets the reset, and what a frustrating moment, just tippy toes away from being able to capture that B stronghold, which is such a pain in the rear to try and successfully do. In the meantime, though, throughout all of the chaos, Snakebite is snuck away with camo once again.
Yeah, if you have B already and you have camo, you don't have to worry about that stronghold too much. Teams would be playing too risky just to jump in there. And throughout that power-up control, we're going to see a trip cap coming out of Space Station. Still, this game's anyone's game. We're not yet in the position where Complexity have only one charge yet. If this trip cap goes on for much longer, we will be in that position.
Yeah,
though.
they need to round
They're taking a bit too long, in my opinion, to push and out and put pressure towards either side. They gave up around 30, 43 points. Almost gave up a full entire push. Whoa.
They needed to run to the slaves, and they needed it now. Right now, 224 to 140. All of a sudden, you're getting to where you have one life, one more mistake, and this series will be over. SSG with B and C control, but it will go to Complexity's hands momentarily. How long can Complexity hold this? They need to have perfect Halo from here on out. I hate using that term, but right now it is absolutely necessary. One more slip up, one more 4 down, this game will be over. 150 to 232, climbing. Snakebite has all the time in the world right now, needs to make sure whatever happens results in a kill.
Complexity got trip capped. They spawned long haul and decided to make their play all the way towards elevator. They better not lose that elevator stronghold the rest of this time because they banked their entire game on getting that elevator back.
That was a big mistake by Huss right there. With the shock rifle, getting taken down. Snakebite killing not only Huss, but one-on-one-ing the Spartan as well. Creates the opening for B to be taken over. They get him out of C even, and they're going to get the reset. 240 and climbing. You have one push, and Complexity will not have all spawners to even try to compete for these strongholds.
Now it's just a game of defense. I believe that was Eco going inside B to make sure that does not get converted. Just has to hold on for a few more points. Somehow, Complexity make their way in towards C plat.
They get
Not over just yet.
They get into C, but Snakebite's here to try and reconvert it. It's going to be resources being stretched left, right, and center for Complexity. They had 2 members down. 1 member was able to transition B, however. 2 members immediately go down, make it 3. Precision was the last guy alive. Snake Bite eyes on the camo, 247 to 178, but Complexity can't even focus on the camo. They need to get feet and strongholds now. They are going to be able to get in C, but Spacestation in the meantime is in B. Let's see what Snake Bite can do to get them out of C. It's a shock rifle that narrowly misses that keeps Complexity scoring for now.
And just a little panic set in here. Snakebite, 1, got called out by that predictive nade. And then 2, misses that shot towards C plat. Here comes the pressure. They know they want to take out this camo player. Pressure gets put on. Precision knocks out Snakebite.
3 dead.
Complexity in this game, but with 3 dead, 1 stronghold converting, what can Stellar do here? They only need a couple points on the board.
247 to 208.
They have to go to B now.
Respawners are spawning elevator. They have to go B. The Flyers are in B. Mental's going to have B. Sparty also going to have B. 1 player in pipes is got to drop down. Eco gets taken down for pipes. 2 more players to deal with in batteries. This one-on-one in batteries able to be won by Precision. He's going to be able to convert it. He's going to be able to convert it. It's a trip cap now for Complexity. B and A now going in the favor of Spacestation. Unfortunately, too many resources here for Complexity for SSG to convert B. It's going to still be a hold for now. B and C, Complexity continue to score and stay alive.
This is madness. You thought that Spacestation just had to hold on for just a second here. But all of a sudden now, Complexity somehow getting that trip cap. But B is where it's going to be settled. And Huss, are anyone getting an angle? Answer is no.
Mental
Can
gets over to
anyone
A.
get a different conversion? Looks like Mental is combating A, but there's going to be too much pressure here.
One more here.
Eco and another member. That's going to be 2 going down. That's going to be 249, 250. Spacestation closes out another close game against Complexity.
I mean, Jesus Christ, I switch over to play-by-play, and this is what I get put through. Color is so much easier, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, that was an unbelievable roller coaster. Complexity fighting tooth and nail to keep themselves alive in this series, to push it to a game 5. Everything they could do to keep scoring, but eventually SSG had just enough map control, enough presence, won just enough one-on-ones to get the job done. But I am so impressed by this Complexity roster, especially how that game ended. To be able to think on your feet in every single situational second and continue to be right, to like continue to stay alive. And that is so difficult. But eventually it's not enough, Dave. I mean, walking away from this series, you got to be proud of what Complexity showed you. Is it more of Complexity saying that they can compete with some of the world's best, or are you expecting better Halo out of SSG in some department?
I would say Complexity competing with the world's best. I think that it's a tough one to be in Complexity's shoes because you lose, and I've been in these situations before where I talk to my team and I say, like, what do we do different? It's like, to be honest, keep playing how we're doing. We got to make minor tweaks, but do not do any massive shifts.
Yeah.
We're right up there with the best of them. And if we play like this, we're going to make a deep tournament run. Complexity, so far from what I saw throughout that series, is making me wish I chose them as my wild card team.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen Nemesis on the main stage. We get to see them play against Optic Gaming here as our last match of the night. But for now, Complexity leaving everybody with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder as far as they are here to play, and they will be a threat to some of the best teams in the world. And I mean, it was individual skill that I really think showed me that they can hang. And that's usually where teams kind of get separated. Like overall strategy, everybody has the right ideas, but you need to be able to win your pivs. And right now, taking a look at the kills, it's not by much, if at all, that SSG outslayed them even in that game 4.
It's basically what, like Precision and Snakebite is the only ones going positive there in that game number 4. You have a couple other players going even, but those 2 players just playing out of their minds throughout that series. But, you know, enough hearing from me and you, Wes.
How did you find Spacestation adjusting to that pressure?
Yeah, we saw Complexity Gaming come out hot with the 2-0 lead in game 1, and it was looking really dicey. But honestly, if I'm Spacestation, that is probably the best case scenario of this series to go. You get the win, but it kind of opens your eyes a little bit on some of the mistakes, some of the things you need to maybe talk about as a team tonight, going into tomorrow, going into bracket play. So Complexity, I mean, specifically Spartan the dog, really kind of reminding all of us that he is one of the best slayers in the game, having some huge stat lines in the early parts of the series. And then we saw Precision really come out and have a big game number 4. So it's a good job by Spacestation, really kind of closing the series strong. But that was, I mean, that's the closest series we've seen so far today in on the main stage.
It certainly was indeed. And I got to say, in terms of the ratio to power weapons, power-ups, especially in that first map, it was pretty much all complexity. I mean, it was impressive to see them set up for those, but that aggression, like you said, coming off the likes of Spartan Precision, really difficult to get anything going. But I've got to say, Spacestation fighting back. I kind of want to know from your perspective, Tony, especially in that first game, where did you see it switch for Spacestation? Where did you see that momentum start to pick up, where they were adjusting so well to what complexity kind of dealt them?
I mean, it was tough for SSG for a bit, but there was one sneaky play that Stellar made to kind of sneak that bomb over toward the back base when Complexity were overextended, and that kind of started the snowball effect. Like that gave them their first cap, still down by 1, but then remember, what does Snakebite do? He grabs that camo, gets max value with it, and then eventually that second one comes in, and SSG just clutched it out. Like, it was honestly a full team effort, but I think in that game number 1, it started from that sneaky play by Stellar.
It certainly did indeed. We got right now the stats on the board. Snakebite with the highest KD on his team, and Precision, highest damage on Complexity as well. I've got to say, it's funny, the stats don't really do it justice, I think, in terms of the series that we had, because it was pretty even in certain regards. But I will say a big standout has to be Precision and Snakebite in that final map of the series, because both of them head-to-head, toe-to-toe, doing what they needed to do to open things up for their teams, allow them to get back in, and that's the name of the game in Strongholds.
Yeah, definitely. We heard Walshy and Clutch talk about it. You know, game 4 was the battle of Snakebite and Precision, right? So just looking at these stats, though, I mean, 80 kills in the series for Precision, 74 for Spartan. Again, just going to reiterate, these guys should be feeling good and honestly proud of themselves so far, how they've competed in day 1 of this tournament in pool play, beating Luminosity and having this close match against Spacestation. So, you know, good job for Complexity. They should be feeling good, but Spacestation really showing us what they're about.
I feel like we may be surprised by the performance of Complexity, but I know 4 people that aren't surprised, and I'll even throw a 5th up there in Ashes. Complexity themselves.
Yeah.
They knew, honestly, what they bring to the table. They knew their potential, and honestly, they came out, they really showed off. I don't know what Spartan and Precision ate for breakfast this morning, but give me 2, please. Give me 2.
100%. I honestly think they're going to be having that every single day for breakfast. I'm not surprised that they showed up and turned up like they had on that series, because that's exactly who they are. I mean, we talked about the superstar potential across the board in the series of every single player on the stage, and I've got to say, Spartan and Precision, they definitely stand out to me. Precision last year was so good. I'm not surprised to find him on a roster of this caliber with the like names. I can't even speak, guys. Can't even speak. The like-minded names. There we go. There it is. There's some English coming across as well with the gameplay. So really excited about them. How are you feeling objectively about this team? I know that they have the slays, they have the aggression and the pace to really kick things off and put pressure on early on. But objectively, that's kind of, I think, where it kind of let them down a little bit. You know, Spacestation managing to sneak out the objectives.
Yeah, I mean, Complexity really, again, we talked about it in this whole segment, how much they're slaying power, how impressive it is, how many kills they're putting on the board, but that's what really separates, you know, these top-tier teams from the teams trying to fight for that 4th place, 5th place spot is objective efficiency and overall gameplay efficiency, right? So Complexity, again, for the 3rd time, feel good about your performance today, but you have some areas to improve, specifically in the objective efficiency field.
Fantastic stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to get their brains going, churning backstage, I am sure, because they have a hefty day 2 to go into as well.